Andy Dalton is the man of the hour for the Panthers. Why is that?
Build the statues.
Build the statues. And they better be like bronze so you get the right hair color. Copper might be the better way. Andy Dalton is the man of the hour for the Panthers. Why is that? You could answer that question one of two ways. One is you could answer it with like the nuts and bolts. Because he completed X amount of percent of his passes, because he threw for 300-plus yards and 3 touchdowns, and they won the game. I'd buy that. If that was your answer just now, thumbs up to you.
As some people probably think right now, he's not Bryce Young.
That's, I guess, option number 3.
Yeah.
Is just, he's not Bryce Young is a potential answer. There's also this other thing, which is he provided a spark. Right, he provided a spark. He every team, when the momentum is going against you, you need somebody to make the play that gets the momentum in your direction. And quite honestly, that's why you pay your best players. Right? You pay Steph Curry so that when the other team scores 8 straight points, when they hit 2 threes and go to the free throw line and knock down two free throws, Steph Curry makes the 3 that stops the bleeding. That's why you pay your best players. Patrick Mahomes, when you get down 14-0, what does Patrick Mahomes almost always do? Big play or a 12-play drive that ends with like a left-handed touchdown pass as 2 guys are trying to drag him to the ground. It's just he constantly finds a way to turn the tides in your direction. From a bigger standpoint, you need that within a season. That's what Andy Dalton did. Andy Dalton showed up in that first drive, from the first completion to Adam Thielen to the last completion to Chuba Hubbard, and everything in between, provided a spark. Andy Dalton won't be that guy every week. Matter of fact, sometimes he's going to be the guy, and this is not an insult to Andy Dalton, sometimes he's going to be the guy that provides the reason why you need a spark. He might have an early turnover. He might go 3 and out twice. And somebody is going to have to make a play. The good teams have a whole bunch of guys that can do it. Again, we'll use the Chiefs as an example. Chris Jones might get a strip sack, right? Who's their Snead might get an interception. Kelsey, not this year, but in previous years, might make one of those crazy plays where he catches it and then weaves through the entire defense looking like he's striding it out. For the Panthers, I think Jaycee Horn still has to be that guy on defense. And this week is an opportunity for him to go, appreciate it, Andy. I got you this time. Jamar Chase is coming to town next week. Joe Burrow is coming to town next week. Tee Higgins is coming to town next week. In lesser form, Zach Moss is coming to town next week. Mike Gesicki is coming to town next. Oh, and probably I should have mentioned him before, both Zach Moss and Gesicki. Andre Yoshivas is coming to town next week. 3 touchdown receptions in the last 2 games for the Bengals. Jaycee Horn has an opportunity to prove he can be that dude. He can provide that spark. He's the one that, if things start going in the opposite direction, can make the interception. Maybe my favorite example of this, and it's not even the same sport, and it's somebody that is polarizing, but I think this is what makes him great. Derek Jeter. All right, there's the advanced analytics apparently don't love Jeter. They don't love the number 2, Derek Jeter. It's like, it turns out he won Gold Gloves in years where like the advanced analytics say he was a well below average defender. It was the legend. You know how he built that legend? When the Yankees absolutely needed a play, he made a play. Was it over dramatic sometimes? Sure. Did he take like 4 extra steps before diving in the stands on that one play where he came up bloody? Yeah. Is he a good enough athlete that he probably could have slammed on the brakes and not dove into the stands at all? Sure. But he made those plays when they needed him. I was at the last Derek Jeter game in Camden Yards. Took my grandfather, who was a diehard Yankees fan. We went to Camden Yards. We saw the last game. Jeter was Jeter. Big hit, end of the game, did the whole thing. Everybody was excited. I've said this about Sidney Crosby. right? Sidney Crosby it feels like everybody, if you've seen Sidney Crosby play once, you've seen him do something cool. If you've seen him play 3 times, you saw him do a couple cool things, but it does, every time someone's like, I'm seeing Sidney for the first time, it's like, well, he's going to score 2 goals. He might not win the game. Penguins haven't always been the best, but he's going to do something cool. When you need a play, who on the Panthers makes it? For 1 week, it was undoubtedly Andy Dalton. When they absolutely needed a play, he found Tremble on the seam. When they absolutely needed a play before half, he threw a darn near perfect ball to Adam Thielen in the end zone. When they absolutely needed a play, he was there to make it. How many people other than Andy Dalton on that roster do you think have the capabilities to do that? Jaycee Horn might be number 1 on my list. Davante Adams didn't kill the Panthers, don't get me wrong. It's not like he's been playing bad. He had 4 catches for 40 yards, but he also didn't make some catches that I think he normally makes. I don't know if they're drops, but they're kind of broken up, but he got his hands on it, and usually when Davante Adams gets his hands on the ball, it's a catch. Jamar Chase is coming, and if Joe Burrow targets Jamar Chase early, and there's a Jaycee Horn PBU, in which he gets to stand up and do the seatbelt celebration, or if he gets his hands on the ball in a tip that leads to a pick, or he gets a pick himself, that's what makes everybody go, oh yeah, last week is continuing this week. Jamar Chase doesn't have blank on me. Could Deontay Johnson do it? Maybe. But actually, I'm like, Deontay Johnson this past week, I think is peak Deontay Johnson. Make a whole bunch of catches, get open a whole bunch. Mm-hmm. It's not like the dude was making like toe-tapping one-handed catches. He was just steady Eddie, consistent, going to make 8 catches, 100 yards, touchdown that was a better throw than it was a catch. Good route, got there, throw was bananas. I don't know if you want Deontay Johnson thinking he has to be the guy to turn the tide. Because if you go back to his Pittsburgh days, there were some times where he was pressing, dropped some passes. At one point, went like a full season and 100 catches, 100 targets without scoring a touchdown. Like it's. I think what he did was what you want him to do. Chuba Hubbard. I think Chuba Hubbard's going to be the king of the 7 to 20 yard run. I don't know if he's got 65 in his toolbox.
He hasn't really shown that a whole lot, but he'll get you 9,
which is fantastic.
He'll get you 9,
which is like this is not negative, it's just calling a spade a spade.
You need 6, he got you.
I think there's Jaycee Horn on defense. Michael Jackson did a little bit of it on defense, the interception especially this past week. I think Xavier Legette has the possibilities on offense. He's a guy that, you miss a tackle on him, you let him run through an arm tackle, he might turn a 12-yard catch into a 60-yard touchdown. Haven't seen it yet at the NFL level, but we know he has it in his bag of tricks. And I'm going to keep saying this until I am blue in the face. Panthers blue in the face. I think Jadeveon Sanders has it. I think it's in there somewhere. It's 4th-round pick's going to take some time. But then the other thing, I'll add this, and this we just learned a couple minutes ago. This was from Quick. What is her first name? I'm blanking. Sheila Quick? It's not Sheila, is it?
Sheena Quick.
Sheena Quick.
Yes.
Apologize, Sheena. That was just an on-air brain freeze.
I'll text her.
Make sure she knows I was paying attention to her reporting. But per Dave Canales, and it came from a tweet of hers, Jonathan Brooks, DJ Wanham, Dane Jackson, and Amari Barno are in the final stages in returning to play. I think Jonathan Brooks might be one of those guys where you look at him and say, I need you to turn the game for me. Right? To use the basketball analogy one more time here. Other team scores 8 straight points. Your 4-point lead becomes a 4-point deficit. Who are you drawing the play up for? Defense, it's not always at your control, right? I guess you could like blitz your best linebacker or blitz your best safety and kind of put it on your decision. But corner, corners can only intercept passes thrown their way. But on offense, the other team has a 60-yard touchdown. You receive the kick, ball's on the 30. You feel like you need to turn the tide. Where does the Panthers' offense look? It can't always just be Andy Dalton will be Tom Brady. I think Xavier Legette and Jonathan Brooks, 2 rookies, are 2 guys that might step up there. I'll throw in Jadeveon Sanders even if others won't, because I'm very high on Jadeveon Sanders. 3 rookies might have to play that role. And on defense, Jaycee Horn when given the opportunity.